Hi, friends and family,
Welcome to Hope After Addiction
with your hosts, Katie Comer.
and Chelsea McLeod.
Hi, welcome to Hope After Addiction. We are so happy you've joined us again today.
Yeah.
We're so thankful for all of our listeners and sticking with us. And we are really excited about this topic. We've talked a lot about it, but we have not had these cameras like we do now. We don't have the producer like we do. So we wanted to readdress trust.
The biggest question we get.
It literally
I would
is.
say.
It's like, how in the world? Because when a lot of our listeners are dealing with a loved one in addiction, and when I say that was the hardest thing to get back, or how do you trust again? Will I ever trust again? I don't think I'm going to ever trust him again. So how can I be around them? So I get it because I was there.
Yeah. Do we get it?
I mean, honestly, it's probably, I would say it's the biggest, it's the biggest thing that I hear from our either listeners or just people that I've talked to in this process. It always comes out in the conversation is the whole trust thing. Well, he broke my trust or she broke my trust, and I just don't know how to move on from that. And so we're here to encourage you that trust can be regained. But how do you get there?
How? Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we might end up, we did forgiveness is a big one too. How do you forgive somebody that's, and we broke that into a little mini series. So as we talk, we kind of go back into that and see if there's anything else that we need to talk about with trust. And so we might do that same thing with trust.
Yeah. And if y'all hear anything while we're talking through this
that's
of
good.
trust things, message us, send us something.
So stay tuned, because we might break out trust again, because it really is just so needed and so talked about.
Yeah, and it's crazy because everybody has a different story. Like Katie, with her background and just life situations, you probably didn't have much trust issue coming into this until this, which can sometimes be even more of a shake to life. Yeah. But then there's others that have had broken trust all throughout your life. And so it's just it's a huge topic that may not have just been found out, or may you've known you struggled with it for years and years and years. And so this one was huge for me, hard. And I think anybody that's walking back into a relationship, going through the betrayal of addiction, it's huge.
Yeah. And I think us coming off of forgiveness, it's interesting because when you talk about forgiveness, it's between you and God, and it's like, God, I forgive them, right? It's almost immediate. I mean, sometimes it might take some time for you to feel like you've gotten there, but once you forgive, you've forgiven.
Yep.
Right? But with trust, it's like a stepping stone. It's like there's things in life you have to kind of rebuild almost. Like rebuild it.
Yeah.
Completely.
That's
so
what
it's
they
not
say.
Just like immediate.
It's not. And trust is built on tangible evidence. Forgiveness is a choice in your heart and a movement towards that, but trust truly is tangible evidence that tells your brain and the psychology of your brain that I can begin to walk forward with them. Like, this behavior right here tells me that something is different. This behavior tells me that their desires are different, and that tangible evidence helps us to walk through that. Luke 18:27, it's one of my favorites, but the things which are impossible with man are possible with God. Nothing is impossible with God. And is trust challenging after what we go through? Yes. But it is possible to regain the trust in the one that you love with God's strength. I couldn't have done it without God, truly.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things when looking back at my story, and I have to go back and think about it, but was starting to see the fruit from Adam's life and what he's gone through, and him pouring into other men, and him reading the Word and listening to what God says. And there's different things that he's done in his life that I'm like, that only can come from the Lord, right? And it's like, we talk about this, like being the one to say, I'm sorry, being humble, laying down his pride, which was big for him, right? Yeah. So there's different things that he would not do beforehand.
Yes.
He was right. He's very prideful. He did not have a lot of humility before Christ and in his addiction, right? He's very selfish, right? But then once God captivated his heart, right, I started to see fruit from that. And so once I started to see that fruit of him laying down his life and being humble and being accountable and saying, I'm sorry, and, you know, going out of his way to do things for us as a family, I'm like, okay, my mind opened to the possibility of trust.
It's so
true. Because you got to see the fruit. They can't just say, hey, I'm so sorry I did this, but then they've got to change their behaviors, right?
Yeah, and it goes back to how many of us in the season of walking in addiction have heard, I'm sorry, have heard, I won't do it again, have heard the empty words and empty promises. And so seeing this tangible evidence like Katie's talking about, that is what allows your heart to begin. It's almost like a flower. I mean, it's the littlest tiny creak open and you're like, okay, I can keep. The more you see in them, the more life change and heart change you see, you're able to open up your heart again to that. And it's a journey. I remember we had a counselor and she had said in one of our sessions with her that it typically takes 3 years after betrayal, whether it be infidelity, addiction, whatever betrayal you've encountered. 3 years. And it used to make him so mad because he's like, I don't feel like we should have a time on how long. But looking back, I truly believe that like it was a 3-year, not a process to completion of, all right, I trust you 100%, but it was a 3-year process to where every thought in my mind was not, is he lying or is he not? Is he where he says he is? Is the money where he says it's going? All of that, it's a process and it's worth it. And I called Katie pretty soon into our journey, but he was going back to his hometown where a lot of the things were and the stuff was and all of it. And I was a wreck. And I'm like, Katie, like, I am struggling with this. I don't like it. I don't want it. And she told me, she said, there's levels to trust. And it was one of the truest things that I ever heard, because now the things that John can do that Yusuf would have crushed me or crippled me, I guess is a better word, I don't think twice about it now, but because his actions in his life has proven otherwise. And it's taken us years to get to that. But those years have been worth it, and worth because ultimately, and we'll go into this deeper probably on another podcast, but to trust John, I had to trust God first. That no matter what happened between John and I, that God was going to take care of me. So God asked us, as he did Katie, he made it very clear to both of us to walk forward with them. But I had to surrender that to God and say, no matter what happens with John, you were going to carry me through. You were going to use this for your good. And I had to step forward in what God had called me to do.
That's beautiful. That's good.
Yeah.
Recovery and rebuilding trust are not, and let me reiterate, recovery and rebuilding the trust is not going to happen overnight. It's going to be, like Chelsea said, not putting a time limit on it, but like it could take years. And I know that's daunting, right? It's a little daunting, but like Chelsea said, in her journey, those levels of trust where he might change a light bulb in the middle of the night. You might not think twice about it now.
I don't think twice about it
back then, because your trust level was so different. You're like, why are you up in
drug test. True.
Right? I mean, it's true. Like every little thing, you're like, your eyes look a little off. You know what I mean? And that's, I mean, it's so valid, because we've all been there. And but so I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself, but that's okay. We can always do another session.
We're going to have to do a mini series, because there's so much fruit that I feel like questions we've gotten over years of, but what do I look for? Well, and the thing is,
I think it's so important to open your heart to trust. Because I've counseled women who are very closed off. Like, I will never trust him again. And I know that that's your heart, and that's your feeling of your heart.
Yeah.
And I'll talk to them a few months later, and they're still saying, I will never trust him again. And I'm like, okay, I get it. And I still get it. I still get the hurt. I still get the pain. But have you tried? Yeah. Have you opened your heart up at all? Have you gone to your Heavenly Father about asking, hey, God, help me trust? I want to trust. Do you want to trust? That's a big question. Yeah. Do you even want to trust them again?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep.
Mini-series. Do you want to trust again? Because sometimes the answer in your heart deep down might be no.
And honestly, that answer, even further to that, may be a no because you're self-protecting because you're so scared to be hurt again.
Because I think deep down you do.
Oh, yeah.
Really. Yeah. But I think the protection of your heart, you're like, if I ever trust him again and I give him my heart or her my heart, I don't think I can handle another heartbreak like that. And I get it.
And trusting again, therefore, to forgiveness of saying, I'm going to trust you doesn't co-sign on or negate what's happened. And so just because you're brave and say, I'm going to choose to let you earn that trust back, it doesn't negate what's been done. And even in our brother program, they work with these guys on that it takes time. And John tells his guys often, they were the wives, wherever you are, if you're a wife, husband, brother, sister, mom, dad, they were so patient with us. Now it's your turn to be patient with them. And JoJo referred to this, but I also heard this in a teaching this week, where, both of you are in a bad car accident. You're both bleeding. You're both just hurt. They go to the ER, they get all the bandages, all the help, all the medicine, and you're still sitting here bleeding. And sometimes, in full transparency, that's what it feels like because we go through all this trauma with them, all the lies, the betrayal, everything. They go off to get help, bandage free, all the things, come back and was like, hey, trust me, it's time to go. Let's just get right back in the wagon. Yeah. And that's not what happens. And luckily, our brother program works with them on that like, you're going to go home and you're, just as Katie and I are getting into this with how to rebuild trust, they also do that. Because it's not an overnight thing, like Katie said. And one thing I often remind my people that I work with, you're not going to go back to the husband and wife that you were before this. You will never be the same. And it's sometimes the most beautiful thing in all of the outcome. I am so, so grateful that John and I are not who we were before we went through this. And so know as you work through trust, so often men try and put these square pegs in a round hole. And so when you walk into this, we're going to do this and we're going to regain trust and we're going to walk into this, know that you're walking into a new life. And so this season of regaining trust and relearning, because they're a new creature. And so are you. We're not the same because we have been betrayed. We have done work with God. And so it's really cool in trust to figure out who God had you to be this whole time. And that's what you're learning. So it's trusting, but it's also learning this whole new season of who does God want us to be? Who does God want me to be as a wife?
That's good.
Brother, sister, mother, father, friend.
Whoever you are.
Any of them. Any of them.
And just like celebrating those moments and communicating that to your loved one as well. Like, I'm trying to think back. Just because sometimes they need to hear that you see them trying. They sometimes just need to hear it because sometimes we're so closed off and they're thinking, oh my gosh, they're never going to trust me. They're always looking at me like this.
Yeah. True story.
Know?
Yeah.
They're always one hand away from the drug test, right? And that might be true, but they also need to hear the celebrations and the milestones that they have had. Like, for example, I'm trying to think back to like something tangible that Adam and I did was, I mean, I wrote down a contract and he had to sign it in order for him to move back in with me. I feel like that's just something that y'all can both see.
Yep.
Hey, you are subject to a drug test. You are subject to cash only basis.
Yeah.
You have to bring me all the receipts. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but listen, we've all been there. If you're listening to this, probably.
Yeah.
So some milestones would be like, for example, he was on cash only basis for a long time and he had to bring me all the receipts. Well, eventually I would say, you know what? I really feel like we're both doing good. I feel really comfortable with this. I'm going to eventually, I think I said, stop giving me receipts. You don't have to give me receipts for everything. You know, I'm good. And then eventually he got back on the debit card.
Yeah.
I mean, I still was in control of the finances.
Yeah.
And then it was eventually he was back on, I think, our credit card, you know, all this stuff. Like there was different milestones where I recognized in him that he was doing his part to earn my trust. And I think for so many of us, we can be so closed off to that. Like we were saying, do you really want to trust?
Yeah.
Like you've got to really ask yourself, what am I doing to help them feel like this is attainable?
Yeah. Yeah. Because you may be sitting on the other side of the most incredible husband that God is making. I was. And I struggled trusting. And you may be putting that barrier between this incredible husband that you've always prayed for because you're too scared to trust. And that is normal. And that's why we're here to encourage you to say yes if that's what God's told you to do, to open your heart, to walk into that, to trust God. You know, and two things with Katie, with what she just said, full transparency is imperative. They teach them this, we'll teach you this. If there is nothing to hide, then there is nothing to hide. And full transparency, everything in our life today is 100% transparent. There's no secrets, there's no passwords, there's no nothing that either one of us can see or get a hold of. There's no accounts that are separate. And us too, like Katie, every single thing I took care of finances. Everything was open. Full transparency. If I'm looking at him sideways and he's putting up a light bulb at 11 o'clock at night, he's like, hey, you want a drug test? I'm like, yeah, I do. And every time that would happen, it would build this trust. Like Katie said, there's different levels. And every time one of those thoughts comes up, and we would nip it in the bud and talk about it, and then I would go to the next level of trust and the next level of trust. And it was incredible how God used all of that to build that in us as a couple and as a marriage. And run into our Father. Like this is, I think, one of the hardest things for me rebuilding trust was the mind game of it all. Because for so long, you've watched the eyes, you've watched the accounts, you've watched the moves, you've watched the sleep. It's exhausting. And so when you're rebuilding that trust, it's the mind games constantly of like, man, his pupils are a little small, or wow, he's kind of up late tonight, or, you know, I mean, y'all know, just like y'all know what I'm talking about if you've been through it. But every time that would happen, God instills, he rebuilds what's been broken down. And it's so cool because it taught me how to run to the Father. In those moments where I'm like, you know what, I don't feel like I want to talk about it yet. I just need to watch. And I would pray, God, is this a fact or a feeling? Is there something being hidden? Show that to me. Show that.
Yeah.
And it's so cool how God would do that. And trusting him. I mean, it's just, there's huge lessons in it as a relationship and in your relationship with Christ.
Yeah. Just trusting in God. Yeah. We always bring it back to praying to God for discernment or whatever it might be that you're dealing with. God knows it all. Nothing is a surprise by God. Your husband, your wife, your daughter, your son's addiction is not a surprise to God, right? We bring it back to that. Your relationship with your loved one and how it is right now and how you're having a hard time trusting them is not a surprise to God. So bringing it back to God and saying, God, I give you my loved one. I release them to you. And I trust in you that you'll give me the discernment that I need when the time is needed. And if you're willing and wanting that trust back in your relationship, in your marriage, in your son or daughter's relationship, then pray for it. God, I want that. I want that. Help me get to those places, because that's what I desire.
Yep.
So,
So good.
all right. Well, we're going to stop there.
Yeah.
And
Mini-series.
we might do a mini series.
Yeah.
We might do a mini series.
It's so rich.
It's so good. So thank you for watching. We hope that you have felt encouraged, that you're not alone in this whole trusting your loved one again, because you're not. It's just so important. It's so big and it's so needed. And we'll talk more about it. So we hope that you join us next time for some more trust topics. And if you find this on any of our social media, that you will share it. And that's how we get the word out and who we are and what we do and what we talk about. We hope you have a blessed day, and we'll see you next time. Bye.